All right, this is Jason, the Primal Outdoors channel, and you guys know I really enjoy processing some wood for campfires when I'm out camping. Splitting wood is a great way to kind of relieve a little bit of stress and just kind of take the edge off. But when you are splitting wood, you know, there's a few techniques that will make it a lot easier and a lot safer. So let's get through my intro. We'll thank my sponsor for this video, and we'll get right into it. Also, wait to the very end and I'll go over one advanced technique for splitting wood, and we'll show you that as well.
I want to thank Jackery for sponsoring this video. If you're looking for a way to charge and power your devices on your next outdoor adventure, give Jackery's line of portable power stations a look. I have personally been using the Jackery Explorer 240 and it has been doing a great job at powering my off-grid office and keeping my camera equipment charged and ready to go. For a more in-depth look at the Jackery Explorer 240, check out the link at the end of this video.
All right, so this is kind of a part two for the chainsaws for beginners video. This time we're talking about splitting wood. So if you got a chainsaw and you're now starting to cut some rounds and wanting to split wood while you're out at camp, this will be kind of like a follow-up to that chainsaw video. If you haven't seen that chainsaw video for beginners, you can click in the upper right-hand corner and check it out. But let's talk about splitting wood right now. So I've got 3 axes here. I was just kind of showing you guys some different options of axes that you can have when you're splitting wood. A couple of these are really good for splitting wood. One of these is not great at all for splitting wood. So first of all, I have here an old axe I just had lying around. This is an old splitting maul. You can tell, like, from the head, it's got the big, fat, heavy head. It's going to be really good at splitting. This one's a little rough shape because it's just been floating around, but this is going to be a good option for you, and a good one to have on the truck if you're going to be splitting wood and have a chainsaw. The other option that I have here is not really good for splitting wood. This is like a little small forest axe. You know, it's a really nice little axe. It's great for making kindling. It's great for doing some stuff, you know, for lemon branches or chopping down small trees, things like that, but it's not really good for splitting large rounds, and the reason being is it's very narrow. So it's not going to really split the wood apart when it goes in. Can be used. I have split wood with this before, but it's not the best of the 3 we got here. Our third option is this one. This is a splitting axe, and so it's kind of a hybrid between those two there. It's more narrow, lighter weight like this one, but it still has a nice big wedge on this one so that you can get it to split the wood really well. In fact, this is my preferred axe for a few reasons. One, it's a little bit lighter. It's nice and short. This is the Fiskars X25, and I don't have any affiliation with Fiskars. It's just I like this axe. So it's a little bit shorter than this one. It's lighter than this one. So this is a great one for having on the truck and just carrying around in the truck and not taking up much space. It splits really good, and I really like the fact that it has this composite handle. I know there's a lot of guys that, you know, for nostalgic reasons, you really love the wooden handles like what's on this axe, and the wooden handles are beautiful. I mean, there is something very gratifying and beautiful about a good wooden handled axe. But when it comes to splitting wood, you can wreck a lot of handles because a lot of times, even if you use good technique, wood can split funny, and you end up hitting the wood a lot of times right here on this axe, and you can wreck the handles this way. In fact, this axe here is on its second handle because of that very reason. The reality is the composite handle is very strong, and there's a lot of people that will argue the fact that, well, at least with a wood-handled axe, you can replace the handle, and that is very true. It's very true, you can do that. And if you like doing that, that's good that you use wood-handled axes because you'll be doing it a lot. The reality is one of these good composite handles, you will probably never have an issue with the handle. unless you like maybe drive over it with a D8 cat or something like that, then you might break the handle. But just splitting wood like this, you most likely will never break this handle. So this is definitely my preferred axe. This is the one that you guys see me use most on the channel. Like I said, for all the reasons, lightweight, good splitting wedge head, and and good solid composite handle. All right, so now let's get into the chopping technique. All right, so when you're getting ready to split wood, one of the things I really recommend is that you have a good base to work with. Pick a good round, one that's going to be typically larger than the other rounds that you're going to be splitting on top of it. And this particular one, out of the group of wood I had, this was the best round I had. It's definitely a little bit larger. It gives me a good flat surface to work with. And if you do the technique that I'm going to show you with the swing and everything properly, it will give a good place for your axe to dig down into, versus I've seen some people split directly off the ground, and if you do the technique I'm going to show you properly, you're going to be digging your axe blade into the dirt every time, and that's not going to be good for your axe blade. So get yourself a good solid round, that has a good flat surface. Make sure it's stable, and that's a good place to get started. So now we've got a piece up here. This one's already been split once, but we're going to go ahead and start with it and show you. First, I'll show you one split here, and then we'll go through the whole technique of what I'm doing. So first of all, make sure you have a good clear spot, stand. So I like to make sure that my legs are spread. Don't stand like this, or make sure you got a good leg spread. If you do this technique right, you shouldn't have this problem, but you want to make sure that if your axe comes through the wood and you go down, you want to make sure your axe is going through. If you're standing like this, if you get standing 1 foot forward, if your axe comes down through, there's a good chance you can hit yourself in the leg. So make sure that you have your legs spread. But hopefully, if we get this technique right, the axe will bury into the wood, and we won't have to worry about the axe coming down through our legs. So first of all, I'm just going to take one swing. We'll go ahead and whack this one. You guys kind of watch, and then we'll go through it. So there's exactly what I want in the end. So that wood split really super easy. Not all wood's going to split that easy. This is a bunch of pine. It's going to probably all split fairly easy. But the thing is, it did split easy, and I got my axe to go right down and into my block here, instead of it splitting easy and the axe swinging through. So let's talk about what I did there. So let me grab another piece here. All right, so again, this piece is going to split pretty easy. So now what I do is, again, we start with our legs spread apart, about shoulder length. I've got about, inside of my foot is about, length of my shoulder is about what I'm going through here. So inside of leg, outside of shoulder. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the axe around. So I'm just going to swing the axe up. I usually start with my hand up here, and then I slide it back as I come back. Now, as I swing, what I want is, I don't want to use just my arms. That's where the problem is. If I use nothing but arms and I hit that piece of wood and I split it, and it splits easy like that last one did, what can happen is it'll come through, and then it'll come down through my legs. And if it deflects one way or the other, it could come down and hit one of my legs like this, and that's no good. And in fact, just a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine hit himself in the foot. Luckily, he was wearing good solid boots because of that. So what we want to do is we want to use our whole body, okay? So when I split through the wood, I want to come down, and as I come down, I want to squat. So I'm bringing my whole body down and driving through the wood. Now, one thing that you really want to think about is a lot of people want to focus on hitting the top of the wood when they're splitting. What I want you to focus on is hitting this piece. I don't want you to focus on hitting up here. I want you to focus on hitting down here. And the reason for that is, you're naturally, as you come down, you're naturally going to want to slow down your swing. Hi, little buddy. So I got my dog here. All right, buddy, can I cut some wood? Come on, go over here. Come on, over here. Good boy, good boy. So anyways, so I want to really focus. He's helping me here. So I really want to focus on hitting through the wood and focus on hitting that. That way also, as I'm swinging through and I split that wood, if it splits easy, it's gonna drive this axe right down in here because my mindset is to hit the top of this piece, not the top of the piece that I'm wanting to hit. So again, along with swinging and kind of squatting and using your whole body and then focusing on hitting the bottom piece, your axe should drive all the way through into the top piece of wood. So let's try it again. So there, that's exactly what I want, is as I hit the wood and it drove all the way through and into into this piece here. So that is exactly how I want to make sure that I'm splitting. So if you, like I said, if you keep splitting the wood in such a way that you're squatting, so you're swinging, squatting down, and driving that all the way through and into the other piece, it should keep you from doing, let's see, let's find a piece here. Then doing the whole thing, we're gonna split way out here, but so there, I was kind of low. It didn't really work out the way I wanted, but you can see what I'm talking about. It can come down and swing like through that. If I'm only using my legs, I can swing like that. But if I'm coming down through and squatting using my whole body, it's going to work a lot better. Now, like I said, I thought we'd talk about doing a more advanced technique. So once you've gotten through and you're getting pretty comfortable splitting wood the other way, every once in a while you're gonna come to a piece of wood that's gonna be a bit on the stubborn side. This wood has not been stubborn, it's actually been really, really easy to split, but there are definitely other types. That's all gonna really depend on the type of wood, how dry it is, how seasoned, but some wood can be a little bit more of a problem. Now this is a little bit taller round. It most likely will still split pretty well because this wood is pretty dry, but here's a technique that I use. Here's a technique that I use when I do have wood that is a little bit tougher to split. Now, be in mind, this technique has some potential dangers. So we'll do one here and then we'll talk about it a little bit more, okay? So first, I'm not gonna really try to split this. I'm just gonna get the axe in the wood. Okay, so now I've got the piece of wood, now I've got the axe in the wood. So what I'm gonna do is I feel like it's in there good. I'm gonna bring it behind me. Now this is where there's some potential danger, so really pay attention to what you're doing when you're doing this technique. But I wanna use the weight of the wood to split this log. So there it is. Now one of the couple things I wanna go over with you guys when you're doing that technique is, let's bring this log in here, is you really want to focus on using the weight of the wood. Don't try to swing on your own. Don't try to really swing because you might pull the axe out of the wood. So as you can see, I bring it behind me. Now, obviously, like I said, there's a potential danger because you're bringing this up and over your head. So be really aware of what you're doing. But again, I don't want to swing. I'm gonna let I'm gonna let the weight of this wood do all the work, but I am gonna squat like I normally do. So here we go, ready? Let the weight of the wood drive it through the axe, okay? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of demonstration on splitting wood. Like I said, the biggest thing that I really want you guys to focus on is that whole technique with the axe. Make sure you're using your whole body. Squat, drive through the wood. Make sure you're aiming for this bottom piece, not the top piece, so that you're driving your axe into the top piece of the wood and not accidentally swing it through your legs. Anyhow, I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, please give it a like. If you guys aren't subscribed to this channel, I appreciate it if you do subscribe, and I'll catch you guys again outside.